Welcome back. It is a community evening tonight on the MtViews program. We're so fortunate to have not only people who are invested in public service, helping others, doing the very best for their communities here, but also just people who have had amazing adventures that call Park City home as well, and it's a pleasure to have them come and join us here on the MtViews program. Our next guest is a fellow who hasn't been here in far too long. I see him around, and it's been a little while since we've welcomed him to the studio, and it's always a rollicking conversation when we welcome back member of the USA Para Bobsled team, Dave Nicholls. How are you, brother? Good to see you, man.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
but I don't hear any drum roll or nothing. So.
You know, the band, I don't know. The band called in sick.
Oh, okay. All right, no worries. We'll let you pass on that.
We're renegotiating their contract. So. How you
Talk
doing,
to my
man?
agent about that. I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing? It's been a while.
Good. I know it's been too long. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And as we see one another around every once in a while, but now it has been a little while since we've seen one another.
God, 4 or 5 years, I think. Since,
I seem to remember running into you over at High West for
some bad habits.
Some bad habits, certainly. It involves me. So.
Good habits, right?
And some fundraising. I can't remember what it was.
Maybe a Live PC, Give PC.
Yeah, it might have been, although I think it was a summertime event, which doesn't jive with the November date of Live PC, Give PC. But in any case, that's the last time that I remember chatting up. But welcome back.
Yeah.
And how's your life, man?
Good. It's been super busy. Really, I can't complain. A lot of stuff going back and forth between LA because I do some work out there, and for a while I was with KPCW training all their DJs and doing stuff for them, and filling in every now and then, and then always working the fundraising aspect for the Para Bobsled program, trying to identify potential sponsors and also new recruits, new athletes, guys that are in chairs or amputees, whatever. So there's always stuff to do. And then when you own your own business, I still own Park City Travel and Tours, so and the Santa Monica Tour and Travel Company. So I'm back and forth doing a lot of traveling, and I'm telling you, I need to duplicate myself, and I need also a travel agent to help handle my stuff, because you're always busy handling everybody else's things, and then it's time to do your stuff, and it's like, dang, I forgot to do this or forgot to do that. But no, it's been good. And other than a little bit of an injury with my shoulder, a torn rotator cuff, which is not fun when you use your arms all the time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Trying to avoid the surgery thing. So thanks to the guys out there in Wasatch Physical Therapy and Alpine Physical Therapy, they always have a way of helping put me back together, So, and there's a lot of me, so there's a lot to put together when things go haywire. But yeah, still able to do my workouts and stuff, just a little bit different in the gym, Just got to be careful.
The rotator cuff takes a long time. I had the bad wing once many years ago, and it took a long time for it to really get back to normal.
And people don't realize, how much you use your arms and stuff, just even to put the key in the door.
Absolutely. That's the thing. I always remember that there was a period of time when I was, and this was early in my professional career, and so you're going to business meetings, and you reach out to shake hands with somebody, and my rotator cuff would be so bad that I'd kind of do this underhanded thing, and there were a couple of times the guys were like, nice to meet you. I don't know what's going on over there, but it's the rotator cuff.
And it's not as bad as the one I had about 4 or 5 years ago. Touch wood, I only rolled the sled about 6 or 7 times. In 13 years, it's not too bad. But I went 7 years before my first crash, and I remember my coach saying, Dave, it's not if, but when.
Sure.
Right? But it was in Calgary, I guess about 5 years ago. Curve, I still remember the curve, the transition from 6 to 7, which is a left turn where you run out of real estate real quick, and then it immediately transitions to a long right curve, so you have very little time to react. And the coaches just wanted me to get more height in curve 6, get more height, and it was one of the older adaptive sleds that we had. and it had a roll cage on it that just raised the center of gravity real high, and there was just no way I could get any more height out of that sled. And none of the coaches have ever driven it, right? And I'm like trying, I'm like, it doesn't want to go, it's going to roll. And sure enough, it rolled. And you know, you go 80, 100 miles an hour, and you have 4 or 5 Gs, and you crash down, something's going to give. So it gave.
Turns out. Rotator cuff, we need you right up front, rotator cuff.
But that's not as, at least, you know, we didn't have other situations going on, which was really kind of funny this past season in Innsbruck, actually. I was really trying to push the sled, and we have new sleds, new design, as you can see, and we can talk about that later if you want.
For sure.
But, you know, I was really trying to push the limits on a World Cup race there. And, you know, in our sport, you win or lose by 100th.
Right. It's,
you know, I don't know, skiing I think is to the 10th or whatever, but we go to the 100th. And so it's, I mean, if you sneeze, you can cause a slide or a skid, create friction, you're done. So anyway, I was trying to do as little steering as possible on the last few curves there.
Right.
And obviously you need to do something on curve 13 because I ended up rolling it. But it was kind of a funny situation in that you know, you have to go to the doctor, you have to go to the hospital and get cleared again before you
can get back on the track.
And the doctor at the track that saw me wrote amnesia, that I had amnesia, and he wrote contusions instead of concussion. Right? So this is a whole scene now in the hospital. This German doctor, I mean, she was like this Nazi big, you know, huge, like,
in his brain.
Oh my God. And I'm like trying to tell her, no, I don't have, you know, it's only concussion. No, you have contusion. She's trying to tell me, and I'm like, no, I don't have contusion, it's concussion. And where are you? Who's your name? What's your, you know, and I'm like, I don't have amnesia. I don't know why they wrote it. So it was really just trying to get myself out of that one. She wanted to keep me there for 3 weeks, and I had to race the next day. I'm like, I'm coming back tomorrow, you know. She's, well, you know, just to get her to release me was a huge thing. Wow. So luckily my team captain was with me, who was actually on Park City TV with us like 4 or 5 years ago. So that was Dave Kurtz. But anyway, so it's been a challenging year. It's been a tough year. It was real competitive competition. Really happy to know that there's so many guys coming into the sport now.
And I wanted to ask you about that. And actually, I'm gonna guess that we probably should take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to talk about one of the first things that you said was talking about bringing new talent into the sport. And I'm interested because I bet you have. I'm thinking that you probably have sort of the eye like a baseball scout. You could put a few things together that may not be obvious to the average person.
That's true. That's
Very
true.
cool.
That's true.
All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue our rollicking conversation with Dave Nicholls right after this. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. We are chatting with Parkite and U.S. Para Bobsled team member, driver, and survivor of quite a few rolls down the track, Dave Nicholls. Welcome back, brother.
Thanks. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really glad you're here. It feels like we're kind of completing the circle of, we spent some time together a few years back, but I'm glad you're here, and we can't go so long.
True.
It's always good to have your energy around. You always got a smile on your face and a good vibe. So, I wanted to ask you about scouting, about life is selling. On one hand, you're selling to attract new athletes to the sport. On the other hand, you're selling to attract donors to the program to help you with ongoing, never-ending funding challenges and those kind of things. And I want to talk about both those things. But first of all, talk about recruiting new people into the sport and kind of what your eye sees and how that process goes.
Well, yeah, it's something that I'm passionate about, obviously, because the sport in itself has done so much to change my life and a lot of other people's lives as well. So I always tell people that it's really not about sliding, it's not about the sport, it's really about helping other people and just being a human being and trying to share your experiences and opportunities with other people so they have the same opportunity to experience what you have experienced. And for guys that are high adrenaline guys, That wouldn't be me. No.
Sure, of course not. I mean, bobsled, that's sort of, it's like croquet.
Yeah, no, I was a competitive NCAA skier in college, so my deal was GS and downhill, so I obviously always liked the speed.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I had the opportunity to give the sport a try at the Olympic Park, it was just really, I mean, my first run, obviously you don't start from the top, you know, you start from the lower starts and move up. But it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing, and I just fell in love with it immediately. And I take that emotion, those feelings, that passion, and I put it forward. When I see some folks maybe on Facebook that, you know, they're friends of friends of friends or something, and this guy's an ex-motocross guy, and unfortunately, you know, he just got hurt or something like that. You know, or this guy, you know, was in Afghanistan or was in Iraq, and, you know, they stepped on an IED and lost his leg or what have you. So, you know, everybody still needs to get their yayas out or whatever,
yeah,
and carve those turns or just, you know, hit that speed. So, you know, I'll just out of the blue send a message, hey, you know, I'm a friend of so-and-so, or I saw that you're a friend of so-and-so. You know, have you ever thought about doing any winter sports or this or that? So Facebook, social media has been one way that I've recruited. And I'll look and see, you know, does this person, you know, just sit, you know, are they just interested in movies and gaming?
Right.
Or are they hitting, you know, doing CrossFit? Or are they doing,
Sure,
you know, still
sure.
trying to do motocross or something, or some type of, you know, para basketball or rugby or something?
Sure.
So with that, I kind of take that and just send out some messages, and we start chatting. And you don't want to fire hose people all at once.
Right,
you know,
right.
just kind of give them a little, just one piece of the pizza or one piece of the pie, see if they want more. And if they want more, we give them more. That's recruiting. We'll also maybe chat up some folks at a wheelchair basketball event, or maybe a sled hockey event, you know, other adaptive sports. And
Sure.
do some recruiting like that. So,
and I think of our friend Elena Nicholls, who went Olympic basketball, Paralympic skiing,
Yep.
and she just won, I think, a national championship in surfing.
yeah, I think I saw that as
So-
well. Yeah, so a lot of sports kind of piggyback off each other, and those are other opportunities too, just to share with folks about, you know, hey, what do you think about hitting 4 or 5 Gs, you know? What are you
Right.
talking about, you know? Well, you know, here's my number, we'll talk later, you know?
Sure,
I gotta
sure,
go,
sure.
you know?
Yeah.
There's
Well,
a
and
technique to recruiting,
then
there
there's
really
that,
is,
yeah,
you know?
for sure,
There is,
right?
there really is.
It's the slow burn, right?
Yeah.
You got to cast and take your time.
So now you know my secrets.
That's the great, man. I love it. Well, and then people, again, I love social media. I think of the positives of being present on social media and sharing of yourself, and so I'm sure that there's some great marketing that's going on when people go and check out, you know, your social media and see what you're doing, and see the opportunities and the things that you're doing that are really intertwined with your continuing to be a competitive athlete.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing, and inspirational to a lot of people in a lot of different walks.
It's definitely a challenge to wear the different hats that I've been wearing over the years, because, you know, you're recruiting and whatnot.
Yeah.
You're fundraising. You're trying to get equipment, trying to get donors, building a program. And our vision from the beginning of the U.S. Adaptive Bobsled team, which was the very first para bobsled team in the world, as a matter of fact, was to really catch the eye of the national federations and the international federation, the governing bodies of the sport, with the hope that the vision being long-term that we could see this one day as an official Olympic, Paralympic sport. And we were given provisional approval 2 years ago, where the International Paralympic Committee said, hey, you know, we think you guys are onto something here. You're fulfilling a lot of the requirements. You have the different continents. You have different athletes from different continents. You have different amount of national teams from different continents, and all this other criteria that they gave us. And a lot of people, you know, the International Federation, they've been working at it, doing a lot of recruiting as well, different countries. And they gave us provisional approval for 2022.
That's great. That's really cool.
What's really exciting, though, is everybody's, you know, biting their nails, is this month they're supposed to be voting to give us final approval. and we've fulfilled all the requirements and all the criteria. So we believe that they're going to do that, and it's been really exciting to be a part of, building something and sharing and seeing all these other guys and gals from different countries come in and participating and competing and whooping my ass sometimes. You would think that a guy with 12, 13 years experience is always going to win, and like I said, you sneeze or
Sure.
something happens. So yeah, the medal stand has been eluding me a little bit here, so I think I finished 6th or 7th was my top finish, but again, you got 20 sleds usually going down.
Sure.
But I have made it to the World Cup Championship, where there's only 2 athletes from each country that are allowed to compete, and we've been able to do that successfully, and that's been great. That's been a real accomplishment. So that's been our Olympics, if you will.
Right. Sure. Until the Olympics.
2022, yeah, and I'm gonna have to be purchasing stock in Just for Men, because I'm already getting gray.
That's all right, man.
So,
I can already see. I'm thinking of Bob Costas, doing the Olympic moment, the grayest bobsledder ever.
Yeah, there's no age limits,
Sure. If you can drive, right?
Yeah, but you have to remember what's going on in each curve. That's the thing, you have to know. People think it's so easy, really, and I must admit, as a kid looking on TV, it's like, how difficult can that be, just sitting in that thing and going down the hill?
It doesn't. You don't get the sense for the tiny movements of those.
People don't realize you have to memorize the course. You have to know that curve, let's see, 12. I got to make sure this is right in case any of my coaches are watching. 11. 12 is a right here in Park City.
Right.
Then let's see, you have curve, like I said, curve 7 is a right in Calgary. So not only do you have to memorize the track, because a lot of times you have blind steers, you can't see what's happening next. You're going so fast.
It's got to be in your head already.
Yeah, you have to know. And not only that, do I enter early or do I enter late? Do I enter middle left, middle right?
Sure.
All this stuff. What about my exit? Where's the pressures? Because you can only control the sled with the pressures. So if you miss a pressure, you're going to go up through the roof, or you're going to roll.
You're going to be in a different position than you had planned on being.
You're going to be really late for your next, so it's entrances, it's exits, it's where, it's all this, a lot of stuff to remember, because you could just touch the wall and that's enough to throw you over. It's amazing. So, but we have the new sleds now, which are amazing. This is yours truly here in St. Moritz, which is the Switzerland, the only all-natural track in the world. They build it every year with new snow and ice up there at the border of the Italian Alps. The Italians have been doing it since 1823 or 1825 or something like that. So.
A classic sport without a doubt. Before we get out of here, let's tell folks how they can help out, how they can be involved, how they can be a donor to the program.
Yeah, well, we have, we're in the process of scheduling now, approximately September 15th. We believe we're going to have a big event over at Park City Studios, Utah Film Studios.
Yes.
They were gracious enough to offer us the sound stages, so we'll have to kick Kevin Costner out for a little bit.
Sure.
But so we'll be planning for that. But we are a 501c3, the U.S. Adaptive Bobsled and Skeleton Association. We're registered as a Utah charity because you have to have those licenses as well. Sure. People can go to the website usabsa.org. Which is actually, I think they're doing some revamp or constructions on that. But my email is bobsledgold@gmail. Real easy, bobsledgold@gmail. If you know someone also that, a friend or family member that might want to get involved, you can send me an email. I'll be happy to respond. Or the Facebook as well, U.S. Adaptive Bobsled and Skeleton, so you can get us there. And we'll definitely accept any type of donations. We're the only country right now that doesn't have our own sled, believe it or not, to train in and to practice in, and those puppies go for about 25 grand.
Wow. So there's some motivation for folks.
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
Yes.
To get involved
and
help create
Yes.
Olympic gold.
There you go.
Good stuff. Dave, great to see you. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. It always is. Appreciate it.
Indeed. Safe travels, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right, you guys, USA BSA, that is the initials you need to know. Get involved, follow along, and be excited for inclusion in the Olympics 2026. We'll have the old man in the steering wheel there. I'm quite sure of it. We're going to take a break. Our pal Daniel Lewis is here. We'll chat with him, and more music from the heavily bearded Chicago Mike Beck after this.